Hey guys, Bryan here, and I am in Australia. Right now I'm in Blue Mountains National Park west of Sydney, and having just a lovely day. It's a gorgeous day. We're here checking out this beautiful scenery. You can see behind me there just some beautiful views of this valley, of these geological formations in this particular area. Absolutely gorgeous. And right behind me you see three distinct peaks called the Three Sisters, and they're really well known and really famous, and people from all over the world are actually here to look at them. And they're very cool to see, very unique. There are obviously effects of erosion, which would be towards the end of the flood, we know that. And of course they tell a different story here, which is sad, but we know the truth of what really happened in history to form those things. And as I'm looking at these peaks, I just thought I might have maybe a cheesy connection to our lesson today, but it's one nonetheless. I wanted to give you guys the scenery behind me, and that is the call of Samuel, and then the judgment on Eli. You see, if you look at when Samuel's being called, of course Samuel was answered to prayer from his mother, and Samuel's living with Eli in the temple as a young boy, as a boy, and he's there, and during the night, God calls him, calls his name. And of course, as you remember the lesson, Samuel thinks it's Eli, goes to Eli. Eli says, I didn't call you, go back to sleep. He hears it again. Goes to Eli, I didn't call you, go back to sleep. He hears it again a third time. And Eli says, it wasn't me, go back. And he realized, hey, maybe Samuel, that's God calling you. So next time you hear your name, say, I'm your servant, speak to me. And so my connection is you got three sisters behind me, and God called Samuel three times before he got the final call, which is where God tosses Samuel, gives him a revelation, which is rare in those times. And basically the revelation that God gave to Samuel was that he would actually follow through on his judgment he pronounced on Eli and his family because of the wickedness of Eli's sons, and really Eli's refusal to discipline his sons and their rebellion. And so basically we're seeing this attribute of God, that God is faithful. He had promised to judge Eli and his family for their wickedness, and he's following through on that promise. God keeps his promises. God is faithful. And so we're seeing that here. And so God tells Samuel this is going to happen, and basically Samuel's being raised up as the final judge of Israel before the kings begin their reigns over in Israel. And so as we see, this judgment will be fulfilled. Basically, during the time right after this, we see Israel go to war with the Philistines, and the Philistines defeat the Israelites. And the Israelites, well, man, we needed the Ark of the Covenant. That's our lucky rabbit's foot that'll give us the win. And they weren't looking to God. They just wanted something that would help them. So they weren't actually looking to God himself, but just something they thought was an artifact that had some kind of power that helped them, but they weren't really turning to God. So they bring the Ark of the Covenant, they're excited, but the Philistines man up, and they still defeat the Israelites, and they actually take the Ark of the Covenant as a result. And then towards the end of all this, the report comes back to Eli, who's waiting anxiously about the battle in the Ark of the Covenant. He hears that his two sons died during this event, and then the Ark of the Covenant had been taken by the Philistines, and then Eli actually falls down backwards off a chair, breaks his neck, and he dies. Very, very sad, but it's also showing the fulfillment of God's prophecy on his judgment on Eli for his lack of doing with his sons and really reining them in, and their wickedness and their corruption of the worship of the temple. And so we learn from this lesson, we see multiple attributes of God on display. He's in control of all of this. Israel will get the Ark of the Covenant back later on, but he's in control. And also he keeps his promises, whether for judgment or for salvation for those who put their faith in him. So we can trust in a God who keeps his promises, and it's a warning to us to be faithful to the one true and living God who will keep his promises for judgment and for salvation. So take in one last view of the three sisters here, and I hope that's a beautiful backdrop behind me for the connection to this lesson, and I'll talk to you guys later on. See ya.